Alright, so gonna be doing something a little bit different today. Basically what we're gonna be doing is we're just gonna be watching this video and commenting on it, because it's a very interesting video for a number of reasons, and it makes it harder because you don't really, if people like you to have a definitive position on stuff, especially stuff like this. They doubly want you to have a very, very clear stance on this kind of shit. And I kind of don't. And it always gets me into shit with people, but it is an interesting video, and I think it would be interesting to kind of go through it.
Hey there, okay, so I came out to Whitechapel in London to do some interviews in the area because it's a very multicultural area.
Holy fuck, that is a small bag. That may very well be the smallest backpack I've ever fucking seen. And you know what else as well? I guarantee you, she was like, oh, it's so cute, look at it. Oh yeah, I'll take that. Oh yeah, this cute little bag. Meanwhile, a fucking cameraman is walking around like a Ninja Turtle.
We wanted to ask people what they thought the British culture was. Thought it would be an interesting place to do that. Because we were outside the mosque, we started having a guy follow us around with his cell phone and come up to us and basically say, like, you're not allowed to film here, which we perfectly are allowed to film here. It's a public street.
Yeah, come on, Lauren, for fuck's sake. Everyone tries that. You know that. You must know that. You walk around everywhere with a fucking cameraman and shit. There's no way that this has been the first time someone said to you, like, yeah, you're not to film here, and you've gone, bullshit, yes we are. And you've gone, well, alright then. Yeah, it's all the fucking time. All the time. Anytime, even if you're not filming anything for any particular reason, you can literally just be standing in a place with a camera. You always get some fucking weirdo coming up to you like, and excuse me, what are you doing? What are you filming? You're not allowed to film here. Fuck off.
The Imam himself ended up calling the police on us.
Fucking hell, Lauren, it's only an Imam. Fucking the Imam himself. Like, okay, alright, cool.
Us for just interviewing people outside. We weren't harassing anyone, we weren't forcing them to do interviews, we were keeping the camera down, and the police came up to us and they had a million questions about what's your report about, who do you work for, what questions are you asking, like that's somehow relevant to what we're doing.
Yeah, but it kind of is relevant though, isn't it? I mean, come on, let's be real here, Lauren. You telling me you don't have a fucking agenda here? You know you have an agenda. You know you do. You know you're here to save Western civilization, bitch. Who the fuck do you think you're kidding? So, yeah, I mean, there are reasons why they would be a bit uptight about it.
Are you happy for me to go into your mosque with my shoes on? Because I'm not taking these off. I'm saying to you, turn away from the false prophet and embrace the Saviour of the Lord Jesus Christ.
They've had issues in the past with certain groups.
And they're just waiting there. They're just waiting there in their police car as we stand here.
Yeah, they kind of have to though, Lauren, because that's the thing. Like, if you're there now doing that shit and then you get like randomly raped or something. I don't know why I laughed then, by the way. I don't know why I'm still laughing. Okay, if you're randomly being up. Okay, I'll stop. Okay. If you had something really bad happen, why am I laughing? Okay, Lauren, if you had something really bad happen to you, and it was revealed that they just drove away after already being there, and they weren't around to stop it, they would get in shit. So that's why they're still there. Holy fuck, why was that so hard to get through?
And ask people perfectly safe questions, like what does it mean to be British?
In Whitechapel. Come on, Lauren. Come on now. Come on. You know what you're doing. Nobody ever has, or ever will sit around in fucking Canada going, hey, let's go to Whitechapel. What's in Whitechapel? Ah, you don't know Whitechapel? Well, let me tell you, my man. It's where Jack the Ripper killed all those whores. Oh, alright. Well, what else they done? Well, they had the Cray twins. You know, there was that film that Tom Hardy was in with them. Since then, though, it's been a bit of a shithole, frankly. There's just ghettos and, like, curry houses and Muslims and low-cost accommodation. Well, why would you want to go there then? Well, we don't have to stay there. We just go there, oxymorzies what they think it is to be British, get shitloads of clicks and likes and comments for the inevitable uproar we'll cause, and then we'll fuck off to Hampstead. Well, what's in Hampstead? Oh, it's lovely, dear. It's like mansions and trees and billionaires everywhere. Oh, you'd fucking love it. If you want to go to a coffee shop in Hampstead with less than £20, good fucking luck to you, sir.
Anyways, the police car is just sitting there and they're just waiting for us to get out of here.
Yep. Although, to be fair, they will get bored eventually. They're not going to sit around there forever.
Well, in your opinion, what do you think it means to be British?
To have the British passport, maybe?
Yeah,
So you think it's just to have a British passport?
Yeah, I think, yeah. To be born here, yeah.
Think there's any like cultural aspects to being British?
No, because it's a multicultural country anyway, so you don't have to be a specific culture to be a British. You can be a British and anything else.
And see, now many people will balk at that idea. They'll be like, oh yeah, the fucking Muslims taking over. But what they don't understand is even within the UK, that statement is true. There is no one unifiably distinct British culture. It just doesn't exist. Like, the culture in Scotland is different, and it's also different in different parts of Scotland.
Alright chappie, I'm from Edinburgh, you ken like, we all have cushy jobs, a beautiful city and great culture, you ken like, why can't the rest of yous be more like us, you ken like,
Same can be said for Wales to a lesser extent. Like, do you think Northern Ireland doesn't have its own distinct culture from Republic of Ireland? And you think Republic of Ireland, like Dublin, is the same as like Galway or somewhere? No, like all these places are different. They've all got their own distinguishing differences. And no more is this true than in England, where I'm from London. You're in London right now. You see London. Does it look like it has a distinct unifying culture to you? Nah, there are differences all over the place. That's just within London. When you move out further, you compare London to fucking Newcastle or somewhere, it may as well be a different country.
I'm sound the pound. I listen. I'm bummed for the top, you know.
What a top!
I want to
And a lot of this depends on your subjective opinion on what you believe British culture is, what you believe it is to be British. Like John Major, the former Prime Minister, his idea of Britain was that it was a country of long shadows on county cricket grounds, warm beer, invincible green suburbs, dog lovers, and old maids bicycling to Holy Communion through the morning mist. And I mean, maybe for him, I didn't grow up playing fucking cricket on county cricket grounds. I grew up playing football on concrete. And most of the green I was seeing, I was smoking. So I don't know what the fuck John Major's Britain is. It means nothing to me. But to a lot of people, that is Britain. That idea. And it may be a nice idea, and it may to some people be an ideal. But that ideal comes with a price. Not everyone can have that shit. I mean, Lauren, have you ever heard of Manchester? It's a fucking awful, awful place. And the only thing worse than a place is the people who live there, Lauren. Perfect example. Look at this prick right here. Look at that face. Look at that fucking face, Lauren. That's who lives in Manchester. Do you think that person has a common culture with me or you or anybody? Anybody, Lauren. Look at his beady fucking eyes. His shit-eating grin. And I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, well, he's got a well-defined chin. Yeah, he has to. Because he has to have something to withstand the fucking daily kicking he gets from his parents who are trying to kill him because they don't realize their squalid existence isn't due to the fact that they had a fucking kid when they were 12 years old because they got fed up of being told you didn't know your bin. No, Lauren. It's because they're in fucking Manchester. And you don't think that cesspool has its own goddamn culture? Lauren, look at these people. Look at these fucking trolls sitting in their bedsit, eating baked beans in a tin, wanking off into their own dirty underwear whilst watching fucking Jeremy Kyle or whatever fucking shit is on at 10 o'clock in the morning when they get back from the chemist and they're waiting for the methadone to kick in. Like, you don't think we have separate cultures? You really think I want to be associated with that fucking pond scum up there? Nah. And fuck you for even insinuating it, bitch.
It's furries outside a mosque.
Ah, come on now, a pair of ears do not a furry make. You at least have to have some sort of orifice stuffed with something whilst wearing a bear costume or some shit, I don't know. I haven't been to the meetings, I don't know what the fuck you people do and what you put where to be what you are. Like, what the fuck is glopping? I don't know.
What does it mean to be British? I think, for me anyway, British is being multicultural, a society which is multicultural, accepting people of different beliefs, different backgrounds. Modern day Britain is not what it was 300 years ago, but it had its own unique cultures, but now it's a mix of cultures. Does that make sense? Right. Its food had to become mixed, its dress sense has become mixed, because we take the best from the world. That's what British is.
Yeah, except sometimes we don't. And there's a reason to be concerned about immigration. But see, my concern with immigration is entirely based on pragmatic issues that immigrants bring into the country. For instance, just by virtue of them being here, they automatically increase the cost of housing and they depress wages. I mean, they may not actively decrease them, but they definitely, at the very least, keep them wherever the fuck they are for a good decade or so. And that's what makes me laugh about all these fucking posers talking about like, oh, base Poland. Oh, when Western civilization falls, where are we gonna go? Oh, it's only gonna be Poland left. Why? Because they only have like 3 mosques in the entire fucking country. They're that fucking based. Well, whoop-de-fucking do. Have you ever stopped to consider that maybe the only reason they have 3 mosques in that country is because no cunt wants to go there? Maybe that's part of the reason. And you say, well, why wouldn't anyone want to go to Poland? I don't know. I've never been to Poland. I'm sure it's a lovely place. But what I do know is that the second that Poland was in the EU, we ended up with a fucking million of them in our country. There's so many of them in Ireland that national newspapers now have an exclusively Polish section. The second Polish people got the opportunity to fuck off, they didn't hang around in there for a second. They were like, yep, see ya. And whilst their own government are sitting around bitching about brain drain because there's no cunt left over there to do anything at all about anything, we're calling them base because they don't build any fucking mosques. Meanwhile, our rent is fucking skyrocketing. And what does the internet have to say about that? Fucking nothing. Nothing. Who gives a shit that they economically fucked your country for the best part of a decade? They're A-okay because they're white and they're Christian and their country doesn't build mosques. Well, a hallelujah. I can't wait to pay out the arse for the next decade as a result of that. Cheers.
Good thing or a bad thing that kind of the idea of being British doesn't have a cultural aspect to it anymore?
I think it's good. All successful countries are multicultural. I think multicultural is a good thing. That's what makes a country successful.
Yeah, no. I think you'll find that the success comes before the multiculturalism, because that's kind of what one kind of precludes the other. You know, you don't go like, okay, everybody come to our country. Now we are successful. For we are multicultural. What actually tends to happen is that successful countries open their borders to economic migrants because there are benefits. Nothing. Who gives a shit that they economically fucked your country for the best part of a decade? They're A-okay because they're white and they're Christian and their country doesn't build mosques. Well, a hallelujah. Okay, see, this is the thing. Now, I already know I'm gonna cop a fair amount of flack for my comments about Polish, like, immigrants a second ago. Because people are gonna be like, oh, well, actually, you know, they increase the GDP, and if you actually look on aggregate, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, there are different ways of looking at things. You can look at things like it's a game of risk, which is that tends to be the way Americans view things. No offense, but you do. You kind of break everything down into theory rather than what's best for you personally, which is why you all fuck up on universal healthcare. Sorry, I'm gonna keep saying it. You do. I don't give a shit. Don't at me. But you have to appreciate, when you talk about anything in economic terms, a plus for someone is a minus for somebody else. Okay, so if a friend of mine, his rent increases by like 50%, that sucks for him, but that's fucking great for his landlord. So yeah, there are pluses to everything. There are pluses to having rampant immigration. There are pluses to having skyrocketing housing prices. But the problem is, are they pluses for you? Are they pluses for the majority of people, or are they only pluses for an elite few? And how do you want to define success for your country? Do you want to define it by how many billions an elite few have? Or do you want to define it as the quality of life enjoyed by the population as a whole? So no, multiculturalism, it doesn't make a country successful. I mean, it can add to the character, to the charm, and it can make a country more enjoyable, but it has to be balanced. And unfortunately, the people who are in a position of power to actually allow this immigration to happen, and who want this immigration to happen, they don't want to actually do anything to provide the infrastructure and the affordable housing and all the other shit that you need to balance the population you're bringing in with the population that's already there. They just don't fucking do it. They don't even control where they go most of the time. That's why so many of them end up in London. Like, if we imported 500,000 Syrian refugees tomorrow, I guarantee you, a huge number of those people would end up in fucking Lambeth, Hackney, Bradford, you know they're gonna be in Bradford, and probably Birmingham. You know what I mean? They're not gonna put them in fucking Oxford. They're not gonna set them up in a nice little village somewhere in the Cotswolds. Nah, they're gonna fucking put them where they put everyone. And then people will complain about ghettoization as if it was their choice to move into fucking Lambeth. They go, oh yeah, there's a fucking Muslim ghetto, they're not integrating. Alright, well, you gonna give them 1.5 million to buy a fucking house in Kensington? Or are you gonna try and buy a house next door to them in the middle of the fucking Islamic ghetto? No? Then what the fuck are we complaining about?
Do you think that there is a kind of core, like, British culture that's distinct from the multiculturalism, or do you think there is just multiculturalism now?
It's just multiculturalism. I don't think there's a specific way, specific culture that is part of British. I think it's just being British is embracing all these different cultural differences.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I wouldn't say that's what it is to be British, but if I was to come up with a, like, if I had to chisel out a stone tablet of British values, yeah, that'd probably be on there somewhere. I think it would have to be.
Oh yeah, he's making a call. Wonderful. Yeah, he's literally like peeking around the corner.
Pathway.
It is a public pathway.
Well, you can't be doing it in front of the mosque.
See, this shit here, this is why I like Lauren. Because, like, okay, granted, I don't like the whole I'm a reporter activist thing. Those two things don't go together. You really should be picking one or the other. However, you have to appreciate someone who's going to stand in the middle of the street and go, what, you don't want me here? Well, type of shit, I'm going to be here. What, you want me to go? Well, I'm not going to go. Well, you don't want me to do this? Well, I'm going to do it anyway. Fuck you.
It's a public pathway.
So you're going to keep doing it? Is that what you're saying?
I am perfectly allowed to be
You're
filming
allowed to?
there,
Okay,
yes.
That's no problem. No problem.
Do you plan on doing something about it?
Fucking hell, Lauren. Fucking hell, calm down. You're in the middle of the East End. I mean, I know it's a lot better now, but it's still not at a stage where you can stand in the middle of the street and go, what are you looking at? You gotta do something, pal? You gotta do something? You gotta walk away? Yeah, that's right, fucking do one. Slag. Holy fuck, could you imagine being her boyfriend or something? Jesus, that must be hell. She must get people into so many fucking fights. Just standing there going, what do you want? What are you looking at? What do you want, pal? And they turn into you like, oh, God.
So you plan on keep doing it. I'm gonna make a call, all right. Some girls taking photos of me over there, okay.
Yeah, you stand outside the mosque with a camera. It's gonna happen.
British means you are permanent and you are resident of this country.
British culture means to be multicultural. Would you agree with that?
That's of course 100%. Yeah.
So how do we distinct British culture? Do you think there's a unique British culture, or is it just multiculturalism?
Is a multicultural. Multicultural.
Man, you can just tell the only reason that dude stopped is to talk to the pretty blonde lady. That's the only reason he stopped. He did fucking, as soon as he started talking, you could see him going, oh shit, it's a trap, motherfucker, run!
British means having value, dignity, and respect. You know, everybody respect each other, and that's what London is to me. Yeah.
Now, like, for example, I'm not allowed to enter this building here because I'm a woman. Do you find that tolerant or no?
Well, you have to put scarf over your head or something, and then you can go in. I'm sure there are women that can go in there. Yes, there are a lot of religious places, particularly in Muslim religious, that you cannot do. There's some segregation.
You can go into mosques, you can go into that mosque. I don't know if you can use that particular entrance. I don't fucking know. But ultimately, does it really matter? I mean, they're in the UK. They don't need to be Muslims. They choose to be Muslims. And that's part of what they've chosen to be part of fucking Islam. So, whatever. However, we are getting into a territory which is what prompted me to make this video. Because trust me, I do have a point. And I have a challenge for Lauren Southern. Well, or a favour. I don't know. However you want to take it. Whatever gets it done, you know what I mean?
Do you consider yourself British?
Yeah, I'm British. Yeah, I got British passport. Yes, all right, no problem.
Do you think that to be British, you have to have certain cultural values, speak a certain
language? No problem. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Yep, and that's the attitude of most people. Yep, yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine. It's cool. Until it isn't. But then it goes back to being fine. So, whatever.
What is British culture?
Culture is like... It's actually multicultural.
Kind of have to wonder how many times she heard that day, because it seems to be coming up rather a lot.
Do you think it's a blood thing, or do you think it's a culture thing, or do you think it's a passport thing?
It's a passport more. So it's not cultural. It's just it's British. British. It's African. I'm British. Possibly is British. So all different colors. It's more cosmopolitan. I mean, you can look at my skin, my color. I can't say Chinese, am I? So
that's an interesting question. If I get a Chinese passport, does that make me Chinese?
No.
Why not?
Of course not.
Why not?
Because you're not Chinese.
Well, if I get a British passport, does that make me British?
Right, now, here's the difference. And this is gonna sound kind of SJW, but trust me, I'm not going... I'm not, alright? These are just facts. This is reality. I can't change the fucking past. And the fact is, in the past, Britain had occupied like 2/3 of the entire fucking globe. Okay, we had a whole massive empire. And if you were born in the empire, you were of the empire. You were British. Didn't matter that you were born in India and you consider yourself Indian. India was part of the British Empire. So if you're born in India, then yeah, you're Indian. But you were also British. And we still deal with the legacy of that even to this day. Like, people think of the British Empire as being something that from 200 years ago or something. But it was right up until, it didn't really get dismantled until the end of World War II. And then when a lot of these places like India and Pakistan, when they were given their independence, the citizens were also given a choice. They could be considered Indian, they could be considered Pakistani, or they were offered British citizenship. And that's why you're gonna have issues when you go around asking people what British culture is, because what you're talking about with British culture is a culture that not only exported and like colonized 2/3 of the globe, but we also absorbed a lot of the cultures where we occupied and colonialized. Because it wasn't Indians who said like, yeah, we're British because we have a British passport. No, we told them that they were British because they had a British passport, because they were part of the empire. That was us. We did that. We said, you are us. You know, we are all Negan.
Really?
Also, I want to be clear about something. Like, I feel absolutely nothing about that. That's a whole SJW, like, decolonize your mind thing. Fucking, look, here's the reality. This tiny little country over here took over all this shit. That's not shame on us. That's shame on you, alright? Go fuck yourself. But at the same time, we can't deny that it did actually fucking happen. No matter how many people want to make you ashamed of it, it did exist. It was a thing. And now you brought up China. Like, Lauren, do you have any idea how many fucking times China has been formed and unified under a state only to fucking break up again? So when China does, let's say China breaks up tomorrow, what then is Chinese culture? Would somebody in Guangdong have more or less say over what Chinese culture is than someone in, say, Qinghai? Seems to me the more pertinent question here is whether or not culture should be dictated by perception or by the actions and behavior of people within a society. Because I know what culture is meant to be defined as, but it seems to me other people have very different ideas.
Hello.
You okay? What are you using this for?
I just make YouTube videos.
Right, okay. There have been individuals in the past who've actually come in here and they don't actually display much British value. British value is about tolerance.
I disagree.
British value is not about tolerance?
I don't think we should tolerate things that are counter to the British cultural values.
Alright, well, leaving aside your whole thing about apparently you know what British values are better than British people living in Britain, leaving all that aside, did you just say we have to be intolerant of tolerance? So I'm trying to wrap my head around this. I'm trying to work out what would happen if we got you and Steve Shives in the same room. With you saying, no, we can't, we have to be intolerant of tolerance. And fucking Steve Shives going, we can't be tolerant of intolerance. And something tells me if we can get you two in a room and make that happen, then you'll rip a hole in the space-time continuum and maybe find a path to a whole new world where I can hopefully get there first to slam the door shut on the rest of you, because fuck my life. How the hell are we having arguments about whether or not you can be tolerant of tolerance?
No, did I say that? It's about
I said it's about tolerance.
Yes, it's about tolerance of other people.
Tolerance and apathy are the signs of a dying society.
No.
Yeah, cool soundbite, Lauren. Almost sounds like you had that pre-prepared. Almost like you saw it on a meme or something. Almost like you saw this fucking meme right here. Now, I hate to shit on your parade, but I'm sorry, I have to inform you that if you think that you just quoted Aristotle there, you're mistaken. Aristotle didn't say that shit. What you have effectively done here, Lauren, is quote some guy whose biggest qualification is that he has access to Photoshop and so little confidence in his shit that he says that he felt the need to attribute it to fucking Aristotle. So no, Lauren, that wasn't some great pearl of wisdom. That was propaganda. Propaganda which you not only fell for but are perpetuating. So well done on that one. Well done, Lauren.
Completely different. You're coming from a different objective altogether. So with regards to if you antagonize people, then we will have to report the police, because if these are the people that are coming
So if
here.
I ask the wrong question.
No.
You just said my words. You said my by the question.
If you antagonize individuals and causing undue harassment or distress, and that's actually the definition, not my definition. This is the definition of harassment.
I'm not asking any questions that doesn't want to do interviews.
I'm just informing you on that. Okay.
Muslim as I am.
Yes, we're quite all right. We're just doing interviews.
Ah, shit, it's a fence!
Just for YouTube. Okay. sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. I mean,
We're just asking people their thoughts on British culture.
Right, okay.
do we have to move on or do we have to stop?
No,
You
we've
know?
actually had a complaint from the imam in the mosque.
Really?
The imam
Yes.
complained.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, about what have we done?
That you're harassing the congregation here.
Again, it's not really like he doesn't have cause to be concerned. I mean, yeah.
No, harassing. I think he just came out and he's quite happy to talk to
We do want to carry on. Maybe not as close to the end.
We pay for your hats. We pay for your
Sure, there's just lots of people to interview.
What a waste of council tax. We paid for your hats. We pay for your hats. We pay for your hats. What a waste of council tax. We paid for your hats.
All right.
But it's been lovely chatting.
It has been.
I didn't feel harassed in any way. Okay.
We're literally gonna get arrested for standing outside a mosque.
No, you're fucking not. The worst that's gonna happen is you're gonna be asked to move away. But anyway, to the point. Lauren, have you ever heard of something called the Arbitration and Mediation Services Equality Bill? I'm betting you haven't, because a lot of people haven't. It's a bill that has constantly been introduced by Baroness Cox. She has been trying to get this shit some traction for about 6 goddamn years at this point, and it looks like the thing's finally fucking dead. And I, for the life of me, can't understand why. Because here's what this bill entails. You know how people constantly talk about Sharia courts and stuff in the UK, and they're a fucking disgrace, it's a quasi-parallel legal system. It's largely bullshit. All of that stuff is bullshit. Because realistically, the only power these courts have are the power that people give them. It's the power of arbitration, and anyone can arbitrate a dispute. You know, if you and somebody else have a dispute over a financial matter or something, you can elect someone to mediate this dispute. And whatever agreement you come to between you two and the mediator, that would then be legally binding. Or to some extent it's legally binding, you know, there's always ways and means, but in any case, that's the power that these courts have. It's a power that anyone in the country can exercise. Anybody can be an arbiter. The problem, however, is when you have people who are brought up in isolated communities, or maybe even who literally just landed in this country and have no experience with the legal system or anything, or don't know shit about anything, being under the impression that this arbitration isn't something that you submit to. They get roped into it not knowing that they have a choice, and they end up agreeing to a judgment that they don't know that they could have told the people to go fuck themselves. They could have said, no, I'm gonna get a lawyer, motherfucker, and I'm gonna go to a magistrate's court, because we're in England. Lots of people don't know that they can do that. And this bill attempted to rectify that situation by forcing arbiters to disclose that they are actually submitting to judgment, that they have a choice and they don't have to do it. And if they fail to do this would make any judgment that they render obsolete. Now this legislation should be an absolute fucking slam dunk. I mean, who would have an issue with it? The feminists fucking loved it, because most of the people who lose out by not understanding that they actually have an option with the whole fucking Muslim councils and stuff are women. So the feminists would fucking win apeshit for this thing. They loved it. People who like to have the secular nature of our state clearly defined and reinforced, like me, were in favour of it. The only people who were not in favour of it were the hardline religious advocacy groups, who, much like the NRA, are paid to have a vested interest in just blanket opposing any legislation that directly affects their interests. Oh, and if you're thinking it was just the Muslims, no it wasn't, it was also Jewish people, because those Beth-Din courts have been around for fucking centuries. And it's caused people in Parliament and MPs and shit, the fucking spineless cunts that they are, just kind of go, yeah, you know, I don't want to be seen as being, you know, a kind of a religious bigot and shit. Like I probably fucking am, but I mean, you know, we don't want the plebs knowing that now, do we? So they just refuse to touch it. They just let it die. That's the interesting thing with our legal system, like the way bills go through a system. Like if a bill starts in the House of Lords, it has to go through 3 readings, and if it goes through 3 readings unamended and is approved, it goes to the House of Commons. And the House of Commons, it gets 3 readings. If it goes through and it's not amended and whatever, it goes up for royal ascension, gets a rubber stamp from the Queen, and then it becomes a law. But there is a time limit on this process. I forget how long it is. I think it's something like a year it can be on the books. And if it doesn't go through the process in that time, then it goes back to square one. And that's what they've been doing with this bill for 6 fucking years. Now, Lauren, imagine, just for the sake of argument, if we had a really popular YouTuber who went to, say, I don't know, a mosque in East London and asked people, hey, do you think people should be informed of their rights before entering into a legal agreement? And then maybe follow it up with, and what if that agreement was of a religious nature? Should the law of the land take a back seat to your religion? Like, can you imagine how helpful and informative that would be, Lauren, to people who actually do genuinely give a fuck about real issues? Because this is the beauty of it. Even if every single one of them went out and said, no, I think we need to be able to mislead people into believing that they have to submit before Sharia courts. Alright, cool. That's a win, because that proves that this legislation is very much needed. If they come out and say like, yeah, generally speaking, I think people should be informed of what they're getting into before they get into it, even if it is of a religious nature, well then again, cool. Because now all those spineless fucking politicians who are like, oh, I don't want to be racist, they can have reassurance that even Muslims are on board with this shit. And who knows, maybe then with enough eyes on it, it'll go viral. Maybe then we can resurrect the bill. And with enough eyes on it, it may even get fast-tracked through the process. And not only would you have helped a shitload of people, Lauren, but you would have also done what you most want to do, Lauren, which is protect Western civilization and Western values. Because Lauren, there's real shit going on in the world. Real places, real things that people are trying to do. And you're not helping them, Lauren. You're not like this kind of the fucking fear-mongering and shit. It doesn't help anything. All it does is reinforce the very reason why bills like this fucking die on the House of Commons floor. Because no one wants to go near them because they don't want to be called a racist. For the love of God, Lauren, please, for fuck's sake, help us help you.